Hey guys, what is up? Chris Schroeder here, back with another episode of The Marketing Reseller, where we talk all things marketing and all things reselling. And guys, today I got with me one of my best friends and a big mentor of mine as well, Justin Poulet, or as we like to call him, Justin Chicken.
What's up, everybody? If you're wondering why Justin Chicken, if you take my last name, you put that thing in Google Translate from French to English, the result, I promise you, will be the furry, feathery animal, okay? Poulet, Justin Poulet. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so guys, I wanted to bring Justin on because he has a very unique way of creating impressive moments in people's lives. I guess that's the best way to put it. Elevated moments in people's life. Right now, he is a partner with Clients and Community. You guys have heard me talk about that company many, many times. They are a very pivotal point in my life, especially when I joined them 3 years ago as a client and now as a client success consultant. So super excited to have Justin here. And I think he's got a lot that he can impart on you guys, client success-wise, customer success-wise. He was actually helping me on the plane to Scottsdale build out like how to make a great customer experience for people selling us devices, which I'm super excited to share a little more about that. So that's the introduction. Justin, dude, let's start with your story, man. I want to start with your story, where you came from. And what we're going to be focusing on a little bit more in this one is kind of, I believe we talked about discipline and stuff earlier. I want to start with that one. We will be doing another podcast later on more of the client success, but based on how most of the demographics are on my YouTube channel, I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of this, especially when it comes to discipline, fort grit, and more. But Justin, let's start with your story and how you got to this point, because you weren't always a badass. So
I don't know if I would say badass, but definitely a driven dude. That's for sure. My goodness, how far back do we want to go with my story, man?
I mean, let's go, early CNC days.
Okay.
Like early social media entrepreneurs.
So I kind of have to give some context.
Let's do it.
Right? I don't think things are as powerful if they're not presented contextually. So I'm going to bring it back to 2016. We have my first daughter. And at that time, it was kind of a surprise, okay? And we ended up having to get into buying a house sooner than we were thinking, because there was no way we wanted to live with others while we had a baby. So we got into a house sooner than expected. We weren't as financially prepared as we thought. And then, our daughter was born, and then we got married, and then we, the house and maternity leave, and then daycare whenever maternity was done. It was always like I was having to come up to get some air out of like all the financial burden that was taking place. And whenever we found out that we were pregnant for our second daughter, which was not that long after, because they're 23 months apart, 9 months pregnant, if we do the math, it wasn't that long after where we got pregnant for our second daughter. And man, it's so disheartening to think, and looking back on it, that instead of feeling joy and happiness, I was feeling anxiety and stress and freaking out about like, how are we going to afford to have this second child? No. Like, I was literally worried because we were living paycheck to paycheck with a mountain of debt from everything that had just taken place in the couple of years before, that I was freaking out. And in that stage of desperation in my life, I actually came across an ad on Facebook. It was like this couple that they had the laptop lifestyle, and they were traveling the world and making a bunch of money. And any other day, I would have seen that and I would have been like, that's a scam. Like, I'm not looking at that. I'm a skeptic. I'm a realist. There's no way this is true. But I was desperate enough at that time that I put the key word, the call to action was info. Yeah. So I commented info, and sure enough, it ended up being like an affiliate marketing opportunity. And I got into that affiliate marketing opportunity. I made the decision to get into it because I'm a guy, I'm wired. Like, if I say I'm going to do something and I'm going to make it work,
Yeah.
like you can bet your ass it's going to work. That's just how I operate. And so I got into this affiliate marketing, and I was giving it everything I had. And there was 2 guys that were like the face of the company that were delivering the trainings, which are now my current business partners.
That was GAZ, huh?
That was GAZ back in the day, Global Affiliate Zone. And from the first training that I saw them doing, they really struck me. They just struck me as like, they made it fun, they made it valuable, they made it implementable. I was implementing what I was learning from them. It was working. They were building trust and credibility with me, while also being the dudes that I wanted to be myself. You know, location freedom, financial freedom, having an impact on others. All the things I was like, wow, I want to be that. And then how do you become that? You surround yourself with that. So a couple months later, they launched a Facebook group, which was designed to be like their honey and gravy. You know, that's how they were going to build an audience for their affiliate marketing thing. Except unexpectedly, it blew up out of the gate. There was like thousands and thousands of people requesting to join this Facebook group.
Yeah.
And they were like, holy crap, we're going to need some help here because, man, there's no way we can handle all this. So they actually put out a post in that Facebook group, which is a couple months after I came across them on that first training.
Yeah.
And they were basically looking for volunteers to help moderate and manage and keep this group spam free in exchange for like a monthly call with them. I was like, that's it. This is my opportunity. Yeah. This is how I get closer to them and get them to know who I am. So I put in the application. There was like 50, 60 applications that they got for that volunteer position. They brought on 5, me being one of them. And that's when I was like, this is my chance. This is where I show them who Justin Poulet is. So I just went all in, displayed my work ethic, my communication skills, my leadership skills, everything. And within a few months, they were already talking to me about I'm their guy.
Yeah.
Like I had proven myself and my mission was like become an asset. Become an asset. So
mind you, like you were doing all of this as a volunteer.
Just while working full time. I want you
guys to like remember that. He did it for how long?
15 months as a volunteer.
15 months as a volunteer before he actually got
any sort of compensation. Yeah. So I was doing that. Like I said, total of 15 months, but a few months in, I was already the guy. Like out of all the others, I was like, I'm the guy. They asked me if I would lead the other 4 moderators. No problem, of course. It's like, lay it on me, man. I want to prove to you what I'm capable of. And then finally, 15 months later, they're like, we're finally doing this thing. We're exiting this affiliate marketing. We're starting our own company. Yeah. And like, we can't pay you much, but we can pay you $500 a month if you can be like our customer support guy, right? It's like we're gonna have a membership. We're going to have some customer support requests that are coming in. Can you be that guy? And I'm like, hell yeah, man. That extra $500 a month at that time was like a godsend. It was like, my God, this is going to get us out of the hole finally. So I did that $500 a month for the next 12 months while still working full time, managing corporate offices in the federal government world in Canada. And then finally in March 2020, first ever 6-figure month. Yeah. As a company, and they called me up and they're like, Justin, hand in your 2 weeks, you're rolling with us now, man. And never looked back. So March 2020, I was able to quit my job with the federal government, and then 6 or 7 months later, they made me client success director, where we finally started building a team around me. Because at first, I was the whole department. Yeah. I was the guy sending welcome videos. I was processing payments. I was shipping out gifts. I was coaching them. I was onboarding them. I was doing everything. Yeah. To a point where I couldn't anymore. So we started building a team around me. And then I started leading that team as client success director. And then finally in July of 2022, we just had deeper level conversation. And they basically flew me out to Scottsdale, and we went out for a beautiful dinner, and they're like, dude, we can with 100% certainty say that if it were not for you and coming, crossing paths with you, this company would not be where it is. Yeah. And due to that, we want to offer you this role of partner and equity holder
Yeah.
in this company. So that's how I got to where I'm at now. And a lot of that correlates with my fitness of journey, or my journey in fitness, sorry. In 2018, late, we went on a trip to Mexico. We got back from that trip, and as much as I tried camouflaging my big fat body in pictures and trying to hide it behind other people,
Yeah.
it wasn't hideable. It wasn't hideable. And that was, I looked at those pictures from that trip, and I heard a podcast episode that they just coincided beautifully to like give me that kick in the ass and that wake up call. And that's that, like in November 2018, I grabbed life by the horns. And I'm like, bitch, I'm taking control back of my life now.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
it's game on. And I just transformed my body. I transformed my mind. I transformed my relationships, my bank account, my fathering, like everything. Everything about me from November 2018 to this exact moment has radically changed.
Yeah.
Radically. And a big piece, the core of it all, is discipline.
Let's talk about that. So you started your discipline, was it around the time you started 75 Hard the first time, or was it a little bit before that?
It was before. All right. So I was 65 pounds heavier than I am right now.
Yeah.
Right now I am 200 pounds. I'm rock solid. Okay. I feel incredible.
Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal.
Yeah. 200 pounds of Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal. But anyways, so I was 65 pounds heavier. And this just goes to speak to the power of accountability, because I knew I had a need, which was I need to get my ass to the gym and start working out. Okay. Because in college I was in great shape. And then I was a police dispatcher for a few years doing shift work and, you know, eating out of the vending machine at 4 a.m. out of boredom, all those things. And so in November 2018, seeing the way that I looked, I knew that I needed to add some sort of accountability.
Yeah.
Because everything that you are chasing after will materialize quicker when you add accountability into the equation.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who was in decent shape, always worked out from home, who had the desire to go to the next level in his fitness and go to the gym, start working out at a gym. And I had been to the gym before in my life. I just became a fat, lazy slob in the process of the years working shift work.
Yeah.
So we helped each other. So he wanted, like, it was his first exposure to the gym. I was going back to the gym, but I needed accountability.
Yeah.
So it was every day, 6 a.m. before work, we meet here. If you don't show up, you don't text me. Okay? Because if you text me, I can't make it today, I'm probably not getting out of bed because I don't have any obligation to get there.
Yeah.
Right? So the system was 6 a.m. Monday to Friday, before work, we show up here. And if you're not going to make it, we don't text each other. The other person just shows up and it's like, oh, he didn't come today.
Yeah. Smart.
And that system of accountability for months instilled the habit of, like, it allowed my identity to catch up with me. It wasn't Justin is someone who's trying to get in shape. It was Justin is somebody who gets up at 6 a.m. every morning and goes to the gym.
So just a shift.
The identity shift.
Yeah, the identity shift in your brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, because he ended up moving away out of town to accept the promotion.
Oh, wow.
But I was deeply rooted into the habit
Yeah.
of I go to the gym in the morning. That's what I do.
Yeah. That is who Justin is.
Yeah. And like, so that was the first level of discipline being built, is I tapped into external accountability to start building that discipline foundation.
Yeah.
And then from there, then I did 75 Hard, which just absolutely was like putting everything on steroids.
Yeah.
You know, the self-confidence, the self-credibility, the self-discipline. And I think
it's a radical
so
change. Yeah.
Discipline is incredibly important, but nobody ever talks about self-credibility, which is where you tell yourself you're going to do something and you have zero fucking doubt that you're going to go and do that thing. That's self-credibility.
It is, yeah.
And everyone aspires to have credibility externally in the marketplace, if you're selling phones or with your family or whatever. You're never going to have external credibility everywhere if you don't have it with yourself.
Wow. Write that down.
Okay? So that was, for me, the first time I did 75 Hard was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Was the building of that self-credibility. Like, if we go back to my social media back when I was doing that, I shared multiple times throughout those 75 days what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And at the root of it all was like, I can take on anything. Like, any obstacle you put in front of me right now, I will plow through it. That's how I felt, because day after day after day, I was checking the boxes of what I told myself I was going to do.
Yeah.
And in the process, my self-credibility was building and building and building. And then at the end of those 75 days, it like shifted my identity even further, right? Because in the process, I had multiple people reaching out to me, responding to stories of like, this is incredible, oh my God. And I just kind of like took that on my shoulders of like, I can't let these people down.
Yeah.
Right? So this is just what I'm going to do now. And then another great important tool is self-awareness. We've had a conversation about this before.
Yeah.
So the reason why I did 75 hard again in January of 2022 is because I had enough self-awareness to notice that my discipline, which is a skill, nobody is born with discipline, this is something you build and you continually refine. My discipline was slipping. And the reason why I know that is because I took my daughter to the store. We were having a fondue, and there was this like big jar of jelly beans, all the beautiful colors, and they was like, I have a sweet tooth, and it was calling my name.
And Fat Justin was coming
And
back.
internal dialogue was, you don't need that.
Yeah.
Like, leave that there. But external action was, I grabbed it, I bought it, and I brought it home. And not only did I buy and cave into the momentary urge of wanting that thing, I ate the entire jug in one sitting. And to me, with my self-awareness, I was like, Justin, you have fallen off the bandwagon a little bit here, because if your discipline was up to par, you would have been able to just say no to that jar of jelly beans.
Yeah.
So that's why I jumped into 75 hard again.
Yeah. The exact same thing happened to me. Exact same thing.
Self-awareness.
I ate a bag of, so when I was younger, my thing was the hot Cheetos.
Okay.
And those are terrible for you. And once I ate one of those bags, I felt like absolute garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, all right, there it is, self-awareness kicking in. And I mean, it's the same thing. It was after my first round.
Yeah. So for me, there was two layers. There was that where I was like, okay, the self-awareness kicked in. You are not dialed in with your discipline as you should be. That was number one. Number two was, every year I do a reflection of the year that has passed, and I do a vision casting for the year that's coming out. And in January of 2022, my vision was very, very simple.
Yeah.
It was two words. It was change lives. And I knew that if I was going to be someone that was going to change lives in 2022, I was going to have to be the most dialed in version of myself that I have ever been. And in 2019, my first time I did 75 hard, I was pretty damn dialed in.
Yeah.
So I knew that at a minimum, I had to go out and do 75 hard again just to catch where I was in 2019. And the beautiful thing about the second time doing 75 hard is I had a platform. I had a literal stage with hundreds of people watching
you. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I shared with that entire audience that I was doing 75 hard, how it impacted me the last time I did 75 hard, and why I was doing it again. And I ended up, just speaking my truth and my passion with my conviction. 30 people ended up doing 75 hard with me.
Yeah, they joined.
You were in there.
They joined our accountability group. Yeah.
I had an accountability group of like 30 plus people posting their pictures every day of doing the workouts and drinking the water and reading the books. So for me, that was my signal to myself. I had outperformed the 2019 75 hard version I had done, because not only was I doing everything I did then, I was bringing 30 humans with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those 2 rounds of 75 hard were a very massive pillar in the building of my discipline, which I pride myself on. This is who I am. This is what I do. Which is why I debated redoing 75 hard again this year. I had a conversation with a mentor of mine who I take the words not lightly whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I shared with this individual that I was considering doing 75 hard for a third time. And he asked me, why? why are you going to do 75 hard again? I'm like, well, I'm challenging myself and whatever. And he's like, dude, you're an athlete. This is just what you do. You don't need anything external. And that for me was a paradigm.
Yeah.
There's a big paradigm shift where I'm like, you are so right. This is who I am, so this is what I do. And like he preaches that to me, man. And now that was an even bigger identity transformation of like, this is just what I do. I'm an athlete. I don't eat those things because I'm an athlete. I don't drink that because I'm an athlete. I get up in the morning with no questions asked and go for a walk because I'm an athlete.
Yep.
And that's just where I am right now in my life. I'm in the best shape of my life right now.
So badass. So one thing that I have a question about is for somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of discipline in their life right now, like, you know, somebody who's never been consistent, who is consistent at being inconsistent, what would you tell that person? Like, how would you bring it into their brain to like get started? Because everybody has issues with starting.
I'll tell you one thing. When you develop discipline in one area of your life, it will spill over into other areas of your life. And if you're just somebody right now that is trying to establish or build or scale a reselling company, any company, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, if you can find an area of your life where you can get incredibly dialed in with your discipline, all other areas are going to reap the benefits of that. And what is the easiest place to start? We all have one. It's your body. Start being disciplined with your body, and your discipline will spill over into all these other areas, which is just going to exponentially create results in your life in all facets of it. Your relationships will get better. Your bank account will get better. Your body will get better. I mean, don't you like feeling great when you're naked?
Yeah.
Like, that's a dumb question, but like, I feel amazing right now when I'm naked. Like, my wife gives me that look, and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, discipline will help you in all facets of your life, and your body is the easiest place to start working and sharpening that discipline. We all have it. We only have one, so you should take care of it just to begin with, but it's a really great tool to use to actually build the discipline. The second piece of that answer is that whenever you become disciplined and you take care of your body, you're actually serving all those that you care about around you. You're serving those people by taking care of your body. Because I lead a team of a multi-million-dollar company. Whenever I work out and I bust my ass and I'm out at 5:45 and it's still dark out walking, I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for you.
Yeah.
I am setting a standard, and I'm making myself and ensuring that I am the best possible version of myself for peak performance. So if you're somebody that lacks right now with the discipline, you're probably only looking within. Like, I don't need this. Start extending that circle of impact, that ripple effect to all those that you care about. How much better of a father will you be when you're in shape? Yeah. Where you actually move with your kids and you're not sore back because you're carrying 40 extra pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
How much better of a role model are you to your children when you have a fit body, a mind that's constantly growing, relationship that's thrived, that they see? Your children are sponges.
Yeah.
They are sponges. They are going to become, by default, what they see you doing. They are around you, and they're incredibly susceptible to influence.
And they mimic everything.
They mimic everything. You can tell them all day, do this, do this, do this. But if you're living out of alignment with that, they're just going to follow your actions.
It's funny, the other day, my youngest son, I was doing push-ups in the living room because it was part of the workout, and he got down there and he started trying to do them with me. Like, he didn't know how to do them well, but that's what he's saying. Like, they will mimic.
They will mimic. And just setting that influence and like setting a standard for like, this is who we are and this is what we do inside of my family. Like, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and if you ask them what are Poulets, they will both answer you, we are athletes. I go to the gym with my daughter, okay? And so do other parents because it's a class style gym. All the other kids are there in the corner on their tablets killing the hour while their parents are working out. My daughter's in the gym working out.
So cool.
Because
that's awesome.
That's what we do. I set the standard.
Yeah. It's so awesome. So, when it comes to discipline and, building that, I know it's more of like a muscle. At least that's how I view it. I don't know how you view it specifically. To me, it's a muscle that has to be trained over and over and over again, or otherwise you're going to lose it.
Yes.
Okay? How do you see it? Like, is it a muscle to you?
I call it a skill set.
Skill set.
Having discipline is a skill set. There's no success theory. There's no overnight success stories. At the epicenter of every successful person that you look up to that's further along in the journey than you lies discipline.
Yeah.
Lies discipline. It is a skill set. Nobody is born with it. Nobody that has what you want to have in life is better than you, has anything that you don't have. They are simply hungry. They have discipline to execute day in and day out. They have mastered the mundane.
Hear that, guys? You guys have heard that somewhere before. Mastering the mundane. It's just doing the same thing.
Yes. So
every day.
I think we view it in very similar ways.
Yeah.
I just define it as a skill set. You're defining it as a muscle. We're saying the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's that it's something that you don't innately have. You are not born with discipline. Discipline is built, it is protected, it is maintained and sharpened. And if you don't protect it, it will go away.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen that in my own life. So there's a saying out there, and I want to get your take on it. It's allow yourself to be trained by discipline. How do you view that? Because discipline's already there, right? Like the act of it and like it's there, but like allowing yourself to be trained by it. Almost like a teacher.
With discipline will come pain.
Yeah.
In many different ways.
Let's dive into that. Like, where was the pain when you were creating your discipline?
Every morning at 5:45 when the alarm went off. When my gorgeous wife, who's a hot ball of heat in the bed and the sheets, all the comfy. Pain was getting out of bed and going to do the thing then.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's always going to be pain. You either live with the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
It's true. Yeah.
You either can go and do the thing you know you should do, and you have the pain of having to get out of bed to go to the gym to do that thing you should do, or you can have the pain of regret, which is where you stayed in bed, but then you have to live all day with that subconscious guilt that you didn't go and do the thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then eventually, the daily subconscious guilt, it eventually just erodes away all aspirations, all goals. You just check out. There's so many people right now that just go through life like a fucking plastic bag in the wind and they're just checked out. And the reason being is they started making small compromises with themselves over and over and over again to where they just checked out. It was so far away, it wasn't even within their grasp anymore, that they just jumped off the other end. They're just completely settled, completely complacent, no aspirations, no drive. They're literally a plastic bag in a windstorm.
NPCs. That's what I call them. But, okay, so a lot of my audience is between the age of 20 and 30. And we already talked about getting your body, like that's the best place to start.
Yes.
What is the next place? Like, what's the level up after that? Say somebody, they get their shit together after a year in their body.
Yep.
What's next after that? Like, what are they looking at?
Relationships.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How's discipline and everything apply in your relationship? I mean, you got a fan. I mean, when I walked in this room, you were on the phone with your wife. I was on the phone with my wife. Mm-hmm. Like, and what does that look like in a relationship?
I think that your relationship with your spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, is probably all like right there with discipline of like important things to work on to have a life that thrives. Because when you have a relationship that thrives, you have a life that thrives. And the reason why is because if you have a relationship that thrives, typically that spouse is going to be supportive of whatever aspirations you have. And whenever you can be in a relationship where the situation is you have all the support to go and chase after what it is you want in life, versus a relationship where there is friction, where there's a lack of support, a lack of belief from that spouse. I'll tell you one thing, you are just 10x the difficulty of achieving that goal when that friction is there.
Yeah.
So when you can have a relationship that thrives, there's happiness, there's genuine love, there's intentionality in that relationship. That's what creates a thriving life. Like thriving relationships lead to a thriving life in all other areas. And I think it is important to start with the discipline of your body. And here's why. Credibility. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're a fat slob on the couch watching Netflix and crushing Cheetos every night, and you go and tell your spouse, I'm going to go and do this, and I'm going to go and build this, how much belief do you think is going to be present there?
It won't be much.
Probably little to none. She's looking at you thinking, you sit on the couch every night and do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell makes you think you're going to go and be able to go and do this?
Yeah.
However, if you're somebody that has taken the duty of having a body that is fully functional, healthy, lean, and optimized, and you built that body, that takes dedication, it takes work, it takes grit, it takes fortitude, it takes discipline. And if you go to your spouse after having done that, the level of belief that you're going to be met with then, because of the credibility that you've built up, is going to be a way different story.
Much different, yeah.
So the belief is there, the support is there, and there's just so many things you can do inside of a relationship that are so small that create dividends beyond anything you can imagine.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a relationship where there's gratitude for one another, there's that support, there's that, especially if you have children and you're raising them together, there's just a connection that happens there.
Yeah.
Where like you have created together this human that you are raising to be a contributing member of society. There's just something amazing that happens there. Like you can relate to that. You've got children.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to me as well, like, especially now, like, them knowing that, like, they know daddy goes on runs. They know daddy goes to the gym. They know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot of the times they come with me. I put them in, either their little cars or whatever, and they'll come with me. They might not be running yet, but they're seeing, like, for me, I know that they will because I am.
That's right.
Right? So now you said something earlier that I want to touch on big time is intentionality. This is something that I've learned massively from you, is just how intentional you are about everything you do. Everything. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, where did that come from? Were you always intentional on everything, or was that kind of built with the discipline and drive over the years?
I think at some level, I always had some sort of like intuition with intent.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking back to literally when I was 10 to 12 years old. Like my intent would be like, I want to go for a sleepover at my grandparents tonight.
Yeah.
And I woke up like, I want to go for a sleepover tonight. It was like a Friday. I went to school. I'm like, I want a sleepover. I would make it happen. Like I had a whole plan. Of like, I would call my grandparents and I'd be like, don't tell my parents I called you, but can you call the house and invite me for a sleepover? Like just these little things. Like, so yeah, I think at some degree I always had a little bit of intent, but through career, through mentorship, through just being in a relationship over the last 11 years, I've learned a lot about intent. And so, there's so many times, it's such an easy thing to do that people simply don't do because they don't have the awareness.
Ooh, that's a big one. Awareness.
So I'll give an example of this, okay? Right now, we are in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm away from my wife and children for 9 days, cumulative. It's the longest I've ever been away from them, first of all. Secondly, I know that whenever I leave, it's very difficult on my wife, okay? Just because everything that I typically contribute at home is not happening, right? So everything, raising the kids, keeping the house clean, taking the dog out for a walk, everything, cooking, cleaning, everything that goes on. Yeah. I know that whenever I leave, the level of difficulty for her increases. I know that causes good or bad emotion. What do you think? Bad emotion, negative emotions. So I ask myself, okay, I know that me leaving is going to increase the difficulty. It is going to decrease the emotions. They're going to be spiraling towards negativity, right? Whenever there's stress and chaos and all that stuff. What can I do intentionally with, by design, prior to leaving the house to lessen that plunge into the negative emotions? So basically what I did, I'm like, okay, number one, I'm going to leave aspirational messages on all the mirrors and whiteboards in the house.
Yeah.
So inspirational, like reminders of love, reminders of gratitude, everything in the mirrors. So she knows she's loved, she's appreciated, I'm grateful for her. And then another thing that I did is my wife recently locked arms with a personal trainer, and some of the workouts that she needs to do require a box, like a box jump for Bulgarian squats, box jumps, whatever. She didn't have one. So I went out and I bought that box for her. I put it together, complete ninja, like she had no idea. And I hid it under my desk in my office before leaving. And so she wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
And then what I did is I wrote a bunch of little scavenger hunt clues that I hid throughout the house. And each clue also ties into like a little something that I love about her.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? So whenever I was gone already, and she's, feeling some of that elevated demand, maybe, a little bit of extra stress, I texted her, can you go please look under the plant on the mantle of our bedroom and go and see what's under there. And so then that was the first clue, and then there was like 6 or 7 little clues. So she's running throughout the house trying to, what the hell's going on here? And then finally the clue leads her to that box jump.
Yeah.
In my office under my desk was like an actual letter of like gratitude and thank you so much, and I'm gonna make you proud. So so just that is like I put myself in her shoes to understand like what is she going to be feeling while I'm gone. I understood it would be increased difficulty with a potential for those negative emotions to creep in because of the extra demand. And then I said, what can I intentionally do by design to lessen those negative emotions and like help? So like those are some of the things I did. I also bought like pre-cooked healthy meals for her. I bought her favorite little healthy snack, like just a bunch of little things just to make the week seamless, easy, as much as I possibly could while not being there.
Yeah.
That's one example of bringing in intentionality to create a result.
It's amazing. And it actually has spilled over to me a little bit from, hearing that. We were talking, and I was like, you know what, my wife, she'd probably appreciate me sending something to her, even though the kids are going crazy.
Yeah.
So that spills over, right? Like I'm not as intentional, but now that my level of awareness has risen, it's kind of like, okay, let me actually apply this same thing that you're doing, and you just do it. Like, it's who you are. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool. And I really think like that's really cool. It's not who I am. It's something I have to work on. And
your identity will catch up.
I own that. Yeah, my identity will catch up. That's right. But when you see somebody on a different level of awareness, intention and discipline, it spills over to other people. With the whole 75 hard thing. And the same thing actually happened to me whenever I went through 75 hard the first time. It spilled over to my own students. Yeah. It was so cool.
You become a product of your environment.
Yeah.
Your environment includes those you surround yourself with, your physical environment. Like, for example, this is a great topic to go into.
Yeah.
Environment for me is very important. If you look in my office, the way that I built my office is I want a millionaire to open the door to my office and see a future millionaire.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge believer that the environment that you surround yourself with will directly correlate with the productivity levels you're able to achieve. So if you go into my office, there's not a single thing in there that is not there on purpose to elevate the environment in which I work in every day. And that spills over into like the rest of the house. Like I will not sit down for work if there is a sink full of dishes or if the bed's not made. The environment, mentally, socially, physically, plays massive factors into the way that you produce.
Yeah. I've just come to realize that over the last couple of years, is just how intentional I need to be with where things are.
Yeah.
Like I recently got a standing desk for that reason, is the intentionality, and also blood flow and different things like that. But like I knew I had to be intentional about that. Well, we're coming up on about 40 minutes, so that's usually how long these go. What would you tell the people who are, so my demographic, especially on this channel, is like 18 to 35 men, like 90%. So, and most of these guys are, number one, they're either in school or they're in a dead-end job that they hate most of the time. And, most of them are just looking for a way to make money, either to get out of the job, get themselves through college or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's the demographic. What would you tell these guys? Like, how can they implement everything that you have right now earlier than you did? And what would you I mean, obviously we said start with your body, but like I know they're gonna be asking like, what type of workouts do I do? And like I know that's coming, right? So what would you, if you were 21, let's just say that, knowing what you know now, or if you were the mentor to your 21-year-old self, what would you say?
You're one decision away. Like for me, it took, first of all, I never really sought out mentorship.
Yep.
Okay, so I probably could be way further ahead in life than I am right now had I sought out membership earlier on. So that's number one.
Yeah.
So the fact that if you're listening to this, it means you are by design and intentionally trying to improve your current situation by seeking some form of mentorship. So first of all, you're already more ahead than I am, I was at that stage in my life. Number two, like I said, you are one decision away. For me, it took seeing pictures of my big fat body on the beach on that trip. And it was like that slap in the face. And it was a dramatic thing. I needed to see that thing to be like, okay, I need to make a change in my life. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. You can just simply tell yourself, today is the day. I am making that change. And even though you might currently be in a job that you feel is dead end, or you're in school trying to make a little bit of extra money, the habits that you choose to start building today are going to allow your dreams in the future to materialize. You need to build those success habits and start as quickly as you possibly can so that they become who you are. The quicker you make those success habits become who you are, the closer that end goal that you have for yourself, that vision, comes to fruition. So make that decision that you are going today. You are the person that sets the standard in your life. You're the person that your siblings, your parents turn to ask, how have you done that? How have you transformed who you are?
Yeah.
That you are literally, it's a decision. For me in 2018, it was a decision where I said, enough is enough. I'm taking back control of my life. And that decision has spiraled into me being a partner of a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
So even right now, if you think that job is dead end, it's useless, still execute in that job with the level of excellence that is going to be required for the next phase in your life. And just try to attain personal excellence in everything you do.
If you're sweeping floors, be the best floor sweeper there is. I remember that. Like, I read that when I was younger, and I did. At a lumberyard.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Well, guys, this is Justin. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I will be bringing him back on for another podcast in the future, going over client success and different things like that. Justin, is there anything you'd like to say, last things to say to the audience or everybody that's going to watch this for now and in the future?
I think I'm just going to say it doesn't need to be difficult. It just needs to be intentional. Move through life with intention. Don't be a plastic bag in the wind. And everything that you aspire to have or be will materialize sooner if you're intentionally working at it.
All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of the Marketing Reseller, where we do everything marketing and everything reselling. And obviously, sometimes we bring in something a little bit different, which is what this was. But I think it's going to be really good for you guys. If you guys ever want to get a hold of Justin, see what he's doing, Justin, where can they find you?
Facebook, Justin Poulet, Poulet, or Instagram, Justin Poulet as well.
You guys can also find him on, if you go to my Facebook account, you'll be able to find him very easily. I know a lot of you guys follow me on Facebook. So just check out his Instagram, check out his Facebook. He puts up, he doesn't put up a lot of stuff, but everything he puts up is with a lot of intention.
Yep.
And it's usually pretty damn good stuff. So, all right, guys. See you guys on the next one.
Take care, everybody.